Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now obviously Anthony Joshua's last fight was against Kubrat Pulev on the 12th of December 2020 and he is going to get back in the ring around summertime. He is clearly getting ready for a date this year and I'm interested to see what kind of condition AJ comes in at because we've seen him go up in weight, we've seen him go down in weight and we've seen him almost around 18 stone. I think he was 18 stone for the Takam fight and for the Klitschko fight, he was also quite heavy, and we've also seen him in recent times drop back a bit. I mean, he was 17 stone 1, I believe, going in against Kubrat Pulev, maybe even a little bit lighter, and against Andy Ruiz, he was actually under 17 stone. So it will be interesting to see what his optimum weight is. I mean, he will adjust to his opponent that he is across the ring from, but not hugely. I would imagine that Anthony Joshua remains a similar weight throughout the rest of his career, but maybe going up and down here and there depending on his opponent. I mean, against Kubrat Pulev, he didn't want to be moving as much as he did against Andy Ruiz. I mean, the best thing that he could do against Ruiz was keep him at bay, so not allow him to close that distance, and he didn't for majority of the fight. And when they did trade up close, AJ was able to tie him up, walk him back, turn him, use little tricks here and there that was able to make sure Ruiz was not able to get his best shots away, like he was in the first one. Now, against Kubrat Pulev, it was more of a chess match, boxing at range, but more like a mid to long range. Kubrat Pulev is not the inside fighter in that fight, it was Anthony Joshua. So that does really demonstrate the importance of being able to adjust and adapt to a game plan to suit the opponent across from them, and there's only a few fighters that are able to do that, to go from fighting someone like Andy Ruiz, then to Pulev, then possibly Tyson Fury, Dillian White, maybe Ruiz again, those kind of fights. I mean, it's interesting the kind of approach to those contests. For AJ, obviously in the Kubrat Pulev fight, he was the more inside fighter and he can fight at range, but he can also trade up close. I mean, those uppercuts are brilliant. That is actually what dropped Andy Ruiz Jr. in the first fight, an uppercut, then a hook. So it is also about the combinations, but he did allow Ruiz to get too close to him in the first contest, a mistake he did not make twice. And then there was the Kubrat Pulev fight where he's shown many different things also, and it did seem like he was looking to display different things he has learned since the Ruiz fight. I mean, a lot of people say that Anthony Joshua is this different fighter now. I wouldn't say he's a different fighter, I would just say that he's added different strings to his bow, so he has been going back to the drawing board, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. Kubrat Pulev was a good opponent for him to gauge that, to try different things in the boxing ring. And, I mean, that instinct to go after his opponent when they are hurt, that is still there. I mean, we saw that in the third round. Perhaps he did tire himself out a little bit, but he still went for the finish. That's just who he is, an entertaining fighter, and the way it finished as well in the 9th round, getting that knockout punch just with one single shot as well. Now, in the clip we got to see, I believe it is Angel Fernandez on the pads, and we are getting to see Anthony Joshua also bring different trainers on board to make him a more rounded fighter. I mean, Angel Fernandez is an extremely good defensive coach, and he has other aspects with different trainers that he works on also. Obviously, having a defensive coach was integral to his game plan against Ruiz, being a little bit twitchy, feinting, jabbing, double jab as well, and that straight right hand, just to keep Ruiz at bay, to let him know this is what you have to get through if you want to get close. And I mean, he had the best start he possibly could in there with Ruiz. Jab, jab, right hand, and then Ruiz stepped back, and when he came forward again, Anthony Joshua landed that right hand, which caused a cut over the eye of Andy Ruiz Jr. in the very first round. That set the tone for the entire contest. There is a jab there constantly in his face, but also there is a right hand waiting for him if he gets too confident. And at some points Ruiz did just decide that he was going to try and get close, but there was always that right hand waiting, and Ruiz did get hurt by that big right hand in the first round. He realised that, okay, this guy's got power. I mean, he did drop him in the first fight, and that's the first time Ruiz has been on the canvas, so he knew that AJ had the power to hurt him, and had he got too reckless, AJ could have stopped him despite him being 20 stone and having a granite chin. AJ is fast enough and has good enough punch variation to find his way past his opponent's guard, so it's not just about throwing big power punches even in the heavyweight division, especially for someone like Anthony Joshua, who does have other strings to his bow, so he can find a way to get inside, using certain fundamentals he has learned during the course of his career. So it's not just about landing loads of big clubbing shots on the gloves of his opponent or throwing a load of straight right hands to the body and to the head. It's not about that. It's about landing certain punches to open his opponent up, and we got to see him do that a lot more against Kubrat Pulev. So he's looking for an angle, he's looking for some way to get past the guard, and some way or another he's going to find a way to get that right hand off, and when he does, that is when it causes that kind of effect that it did with Kubrat Pulev in the 3rd round and in the 9th round. So he is being a lot more patient with his work. That means also he doesn't get tired, because we have seen that from AJ when he gets tired in contest, but we haven't seen that quite recently. We didn't see it in the 2nd Ruiz fight, and we didn't see it really in the Pulev fight. I mean, after that 3rd round, but that was understandable given what he put in. But after a minute rest and getting his momentum back, he was able to warm back into the fight, and I mean, there was no moments there where Pulev gained control. So he was able to maintain that control. So we are seeing different aspects to his boxing game, but we're not seeing a different AJ, because when he saw that Kubrat Pulev was hurt, he still went after him and tried to finish him. And he did put a lot into that round, but he was able to compose himself and get back behind his jab, be patient, show his maturity, and still get the victory later on in the fight. That is the important thing for AJ. He has good footwork, good positioning, he's fast, he moves well, so he can utilise those aspects as opposed to just walking his opponent down, stalking them, and going for the knockout, because that also helps you with longevity in the sport. I mean, if AJ goes and trades with his opponent time after time after time, at this level, with the fighters in the heavyweight division currently, then that's going to put miles on the clock. So fighting a certain way also ensures a longevity in the sport for Anthony Joshua going forwards. The important thing also is the commitment and the understanding that there are still things that he can learn as well. I mean, you never stop learning in the sport of boxing, and he can always make adjustments and change his game plan based off of the opponent that is in front of him. Obviously, different horses for different courses, and that goes back to his weight. Sometimes he needs to be heavier, sometimes he needs to be lighter, and I know that the performance from Andy Ruiz Jr. at the weekend against Chris Arreola didn't really sell Andy Ruiz as a dangerous kind of opponent for anyone in the heavyweight division, especially given his performance, but that again was down to weight, I believe. I don't think that was his optimum weight going in against Arreola. He seems to be better when he's heavier, even faster, more power in his shots, better at taking punches also, we saw that. So you can see how the weight of the fighter is integral. Andy Ruiz is looking to find his optimum weight in the heavyweight division. Perhaps it is a little bit heavier than around the high 250s. Whereas AJ has been looking to find that optimum weight for a few fights now, and it seems to be around 17 stone. So I don't think many things will change going forwards in his career. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.